Hello everyone. So today I'm gonna mash up the last 6 days of 12 days of OpenAI in one quick video. So the first 6 days were heavy. The next ones, well, it was small, amazing bits of products or features or updates that OpenAI dropped. But the last day was the biggest drop, and I think people were anticipating something big to be kept for the last day, which is the announcement of the O3 model. So we're gonna go over it quickly. We're going to end up with O3, talk a little bit about it, and see what the OpenAI Santa brought us the last 6 days. So I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and let's get started.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. The mic.
So if you want to see all of what they dropped all in one place, you'll have to go to openai.com/12-days, which is the site for 12 days of OpenAI. And here you can go through day 12 and back to day 1. So that's just a reminder for you if you want to do your own reading on the topics that OpenAI just dropped. So I won't be going into this in a specific order, just some order that makes sense for the video. So let's start off with one of my favorite topics, which is fine-tuning. So we've always had supervised fine-tuning. I have a couple of videos that I did on fine-tuning. I use it myself. I think this is something probably more for developers, but I think fine-tuning on OpenAI is done in a way that is easy for anyone just to follow along and create something with it. So if you're using especially OpenAI models through an API and you're not getting the performance for your use case, at least in the way that you expect or want, you try to improve the prompts, well, fine-tuning is that kind of technology to help you. So you can create a version of the model in some sense that will actually give outputs that are closer to what you're expecting or what you're looking for. Now, we've always had supervised fine-tuning. During these 12 days of OpenAI, they added 2 more. One of them is reinforcement fine-tuning, and the other one is preference fine-tuning. I think that's what they call it. We're going to look at it. What I found is till now, I don't have access to the reinforcement fine-tuning, which is, I think, the smarter type of it, where you give the model or the training model a goal that you're trying to achieve and a way to measure or keep going after that goal, basically, and it will train itself to achieve the outcome that you're looking for. So it's a little bit, I think, more technical than other types of fine-tuning, but still achievable and doable, I think, with all these AI models that can do lots of the preparation of the data for you. Now, the other part is the preference, and I think this is more for the conversational, at least from the way I understand it. And this is my area where I like to fine-tune models. I tried in the past to do models that talk, basically create posts, create blogs in a way that I write, I speak. It was never there. Like, it was never really hitting the mark. I read it as if it's something else. I wanted to read something and just go, yeah, this is something that I would write. Definitely, I would have written something like that in that language, in that kind of tone, and so forth. So I tried to do it in the supervised fine-tuning a couple of times, didn't work out. I think the preference fine-tuning will do definitely a better job there, because basically the way it works is that you give it something. Let's say I can give it a post that the model in the past generated for me. I can rewrite that post in my own language. I can do 10 examples of such, and then train the model or fine-tune the model to follow these kind of preferences. From the demo that OpenAI showed, it seems it's really good in doing that and giving a high performance output based on a small number of samples. So that is something they're promising. I'm gonna test it out and do a video about it later on. But this is exciting stuff, maybe not for most people, but believe me, at some point, if you use AI more and more, you're going to want to fine-tune the models to operate in a way that actually meeting your expectation, even at the slightest details. So this is something for you to figure out, play with it. It's just fun, even if you don't need it. So you can go to the fine-tuning in the documentation of OpenAI. You can also go to the API references, so you can read all about that. And we're going to do it in a second. With projects, something else they dropped. But usually, I feed all of that documentation into an AI model, OpenAI. Let's say now we have access to O1 if you're a Plus user. And then it will actually help you to write everything you need to do or prepare anything you need to prepare for fine-tuning a model, like the training data, validation data, and so forth. So it's just something that anyone, I believe, can do it. And now let's go to see the fine-tuning on the dashboard of OpenAI. Now you can do it in two ways. You can fine-tune a model using code, and you can actually do the fine-tuning on the OpenAI dashboard interface. So if you go to the dashboard interface, you can see here on the left, you have all these options of the assistant, threads, batches, etc. And there is a tab for fine-tuning. Once you click it, you get this window. Now, by this stage, you should have prepared the data that you need to train the model, which is in .jsonl format. And then you can select here what is the method that you want to use for fine-tuning the model. In the past, there was only one, which is supervised. Now you have direct preference optimization. So this is the preference fine-tuning, direct preference optimization. So you optimize based on preference. You can read all about it, but you have both options. So once you have the data, you can just attach it here, do some other modification to the requirement of the fine-tuning, and then create the job. You can leave it, you'll get an email notifying you that's done, and then you can start using that model with Assistant and other places. So very exciting, I think, for maybe a smaller group of people. The next one is, again, something that, yes, it's still exciting for a smaller group of people who are interested in developing, which is the real-time API. So we got that, I think, 3 months ago. It was exciting. I did a couple of videos where I connected it to a phone call, and again, using some kind of template that OpenAI themselves created with Twilio. So it's really interesting. So the same assistant that you get, the advanced voice model assistant you get on your mobile, is accessible into applications. Now they even made it better. So they created an SDK for Python and I think Java for the real-time API, and they developed the real-time API to work with certain standards or protocols that will enable it to connect with servers, enable it to connect with devices over Wi-Fi. So for me, although I might not be doing these things, it's super interesting. Some people can now innovate and use that voice model that OpenAI is offering through API as well in devices, in remote devices that are not necessarily having processing power to run it directly, but they can connect with existing devices like your computer basically, and you can have a headset that has that kind of advanced voice model available on it. So we're gonna, I think, see really soon Jarvis-like products out there. So this is a change that many people are happy with. I think also, I'm assuming they just cleaned it up, because last time we got it, at least for people like me, this is all about my channel, I tried to replicate or build something with real-time API on my own through working with AI and coding it. It was a challenge. Now that there's an SDK, that might be much easier. So I'm gonna also play around with that to see if I can build applications today with real-time API other than using GitHub repositories that I fork and just modify a little bit. So all of these upgrades, when it comes to real-time API, there's smaller details. You have to go through the documentation that they updated and the blogs they posted on OpenAI. But those will help the advancement in those areas, and they will help real people innovate and do new things that could be helpful for us all in the future. So I'll put all the links that I'm showing here in the description later on, but you can see and read through the real-time API details. So this is WebRTC, and you can see use WebRTC to connect to client-side applications to the real-time API. WebRTC is a powerful set of standard interfaces for building real-time applications. The OpenAI Real-Time API supports connecting to real-time models through a WebRTC peer connections. Follow this guide to learn how to configure WebRTC connection to a real-time API. So you can read, this is one of them. I think there's a second one, and it seems easy to do, like the connection details. And I'll show you later on how you can now use these things to build quickly. And even if you don't know anything about coding, you can still do that if you at least know basics of how to feed data to the model and then ask it to do things for you. And the models are definitely getting super smarter every day. The small issues you face today getting code out of a model and trying to do something for yourself, I think really soon they will not be even an issue. So again, you can go also to the API references of real time. Here you'll have snippets of code, every single detail of action or feature or code line that you might need when you're developing something on real time. Here with examples and code snippets. If you have the time and you want to do something, it's also better to read a little bit here before you go to the AI model and ask it to give code for you. At least you'll get the logic out of it. And they do it in a really nice and clear way. So again, all of this is available on OpenAI. I'll have the links for you. So let's move on from the more technical, boring stuff. I hope I didn't lose most people at this stage. So projects. So they dropped projects. Projects is something that I believe they kept back for a long time. For some time, I used to go more for Claude because of that projects feature where I give it some knowledge base and then I keep going to that project, open multiple sessions about the same theme of the thing I created the project for. It's a powerful tool. It keeps things more organized. So let's go to ChatGPT now and we're going to create a project. I already baked 2 documents to use as knowledge, one for the real-time API and one for fine-tuning. I'm going to create a project that helps me do both and I'll show you step by step on how to do it. Okay, so we'll go to ChatGPT here. So this is the interface and you have the interface as you do normally, and you have the GPTs on top. If you scroll down, you have the sessions opened, and then you have something new called projects. You see I have some project created already just to play with it. So let's create a new project. Let's call it fine-tune and real-time voice coding. So this is a project I want to create so I can refer to it every time I want to code something related to either creating data for fine-tuning or a project I might work on when it comes to real-time voice for OpenAI. So I hit create project and this is your project interface. So let me make it bigger. So you can see it's a normal chat, but also you can add files and add instructions here. So let's start with the files. So I'll add files. I'll go to my downloads and I have 2 documents here I'm gonna add and open. And these are essentially the text from the API documentation and the general docs or articles or blogs that OpenAI has on both fine-tuning and real-time API. I just got them on a Word document, saved them on my computer, and now I have them on my project. And here you can add instructions if you wanted to. Just let's say I want, when I deal with the real-time API, I just want the code. I don't want it to give me explanation, for example. So you can give it certain instructions on how to interact with you when you have the projects. And once you have that, you can start creating sessions, and all these sessions, so the chats will show up here. They will show up all in one place. So this is my one project to do all of things related to fine-tuning and the real-time API. So it will keep things organized. I assume there will be some correlation and link in terms of memory and the kind of things you're doing there. I like the UI. I like the concept of projects. And this is a small but amazing feature to have. Even you can color code it if you like that. So let me give it a blue color for coding, which I think resembles VS Code color at least. Okay, so we created this project. I can come back to it anytime. If I scroll here, you can see I have a second project that I can look at, and you can delete the project if you want, or you change your mind on it, or you stopped using it. So that's there as well. Moving on, the other great thing we got a couple of days back is working with apps. So working with apps just got better, and more apps are part of that ecosystem or feature of OpenAI. Obviously, that works on the desktop version of the OpenAI or ChatGPT interface. So you can't use it when you're operating on the browser. So we'll look at it, we'll play with it. So more apps, and it's improved. You can read about it, how to install it. I include this page which tells you how to install the work with apps basically on your desktop. And with this, let's take a pause here and go play with it. And I'll not spend lots of time. I just want to show you how it works. I had a video before about it and how I would use it in coding. It wasn't the smoothest and the best experience, honestly. Now, clearly, they did lots of improvement there based on user feedback. And let's do it actually with writing, because not all of people code. Definitely most people use AI to write things. Now work with apps can have access to Notion, Notes, and I hope in the future other things that will help you write better, write more, plan more, do things just all in all better. So let's move to the ChatGPT desktop app and see how it looks. Okay, so here I have the ChatGPT desktop app, and it is pretty much the same. The only difference here, you're gonna see the model selection down there. So you can click on it. You can select O1, O1 mini, and other older models, and you get the internet, adding files, but also you have this small thing here, which is basically working with apps. So this is where you can actually connect ChatGPT to an app and start using the models of ChatGPT to do things on that app. The thing is, at least for now, when it comes to coding, this will give access to ChatGPT. So basically, whatever is, let's say we're dealing with VS Code, whatever is there on VS Code or Xcode, even for Mac or Apple kind of development, it will see what you have in that code base, and it will read it, and you can interact with it and ask it to help you do more things, improve things. So it is making things easier for so many people. Not there yet, I would say, but definitely really interesting when it comes to writing. This is something improving, but I think it's a good start. Not something I am using on daily basis, but I'm pretty sure it's a good use case for so many people for specific needs out there. One of them is writing. So I have my Notion app, desktop app open as well. So we're going to test it with that also. There's an interesting tab here, a small one. So if you click at it, you open this kind of a window that later on will be handy when you use this feature. Okay, so here, let me click on work with apps. And if you hit that plus button here, you will connect it to Notion. So let me hit that. So now it's working with Notion. So I can interact directly through ChatGPT desktop app. You can see working with Notion. We don't want that, so I'll minimize this one. So this remains open. It's a nice feature here. Now let me minimize Notion, and I'll have it here on the side. So I created a hypothetical task set to clean an outdoor pool. So clean pool, basically drain, use cleaning agent, scrub, clean filter, and fill back. Basically something that no one does, because you are going to have a crazy water bill if you do that every time. So I just want to show you how now ChatGPT with work with apps can actually read what I have on the page when it comes to Notion. So let me open ChatGPT here. I'll get our little friend and I'll minimize the rest. Can take this up here. So I'm telling it, tell me if my tasks are well structured to clean the pool. What should I remove or add? So I click go, and now it can actually read what I have there, and it's telling me it's well structured. Revised pool cleaning tips: drain the pool, ensure that you have proper drainage, plan to avoid flooding nearby areas. So yeah, it's stupid enough that I think it noticed that. So you could see it was able to read what I had on Notion, and this is a big one. So if you're writing something, if you have an essay or you have a blog and you just want ChatGPT to help you with ideas, feedback, comments, you can do that now on your desktop. It's not super powerful. Some people might find it useful. I would still do these things with Canvas when it comes to writing, but again, for other things, when it comes to coding, definitely people will be happy to play with it and use it. I think this is just one step along the way of something much more developed in terms of the features and the abilities it will bring us into our desktop. So this is not something on the cloud. This is something you actually can interact with your computer apps on your desktop. It has lots of potential. We saw computer use by Anthropic. I don't know what OpenAI in the future will use work with apps for. So just an interesting drop in the 12 days of OpenAI to show you. Let's carry on with the updates that we got from them. The other one, which is super interesting, is 1-800-ChatGPT. It's a number where, at least for now in the United States, you can call it and you can interact with the voice model of OpenAI, ask it things, it will help you out. It's free, other than I think the phone charges, it's free. The same goes for WhatsApp. So literally you can do this off the screen and just scan this code and go to WhatsApp and start interacting with ChatGPT on WhatsApp. The most interesting and impressive part for me is how can they afford this? So I assume even with the phone number that could go to other countries later on. For now, it's only for the US. And for WhatsApp, you can do it globally. I've tried it myself. Really interesting. You don't get the best. You'll not have O1 there, definitely. So it's just something if you want to just get a quick answer. And this is more geared for, I think, free users or people who don't have access to ChatGPT application in their region, but they have access to WhatsApp. So I would call it an amazing, nice gesture from OpenAI to share their technology with wider and wider audiences. So kudos to them for doing that. Now, the last and biggest one, the huge drop of news that OpenAI released yesterday, which is the O3. Now, on their website, there's not so much information and data around it beyond what you have on the video of the release, the series of 12 days of OpenAI. But X is filled by OpenAI people showing some of these same graphs, which they showcased during their live about O3. So let's just go through them. So this is primarily us going through X. So this tweet was reposted multiple times by people. And basically one of the testing that they showed around O3 is that it got 2,727 on code forces, which is, I don't know it exactly, but I assume this is like a testing or benchmarking mark for coders, globally human coders. And this fellow here, I think he got it also from somewhere else, but he went to that benchmark and he got the mark, which is 2727 that the O3 model got. And the rank of that coder is a Chinese person, but that is 175th in the world in terms of the best coder. So pretty soon, people will have access to technology that could enable you to code to the same level of coding that this person is at. I mean, at some point, maybe it will be number one. But at least for today, imagine a common person like me knows nothing about coding, already developing things with OpenAI, with the existing models out there. Imagine if I have access to doing things with a model that is ranked at the 175th top coder in the world level or type of ability. Really, this is democratizing technology. More people will create more things, and I don't know where this is going, but I think we should be positive and think about that. This is interesting. This will open the world for more innovation, more creation, things that could help humanity and the economy overall, I hope. So this was an interesting one I wanted to share with you. And then you have the official OpenAI Twitter account. You can go there, you can go to their YouTube channel, and you can see the actual live and how they demo it. They don't actually demo it, but they just mostly announce it, show you some graphics around the benchmarks, the testing they're doing for it, and things they plan to do with it, and how that will progress as a model. They're expecting it to come, I think, if I recall correctly, by the end of January. So, but it's interesting to watch. Many people went to the internet, and I think everyone's just taking screenshots from that YouTube or X Live that they did, and even people within OpenAI. So I don't know, they didn't have access to these graphics. But you can see here, for example, one of the OpenAI people, he's saying we trained O3 Mini both more capable than O1 Mini and around 4 times faster end-to-end when accounting for reasoning tokens. So I didn't mention that O3 is coming with the O3 Mini. So I think that's those models will come in twins always, a large one and a small one. So this is some of the benchmarks and around capability when it comes to math and latency. You can go and check all of these tweets. They are available on X all across the platform. Just search OpenAI O3. And then we have this by Noam Brown. And this is what shows you the code forces, basically competition code of 2727 level that O3 achieved. O1 achieved 1,891 and O1 preview 1,200. You can see like this is nearly exponential growth in terms of model to model. And remember that O1 just came probably 4 months back. O1 preview, O1 just came like a week back. So this is fast kind of progression and very interesting. Software engineering, again, this is a kind of a benchmark comparing O1 preview, O1 and O3. Very interesting. So he's saying we announced at OpenAI O1 just 3 months ago. Yeah, okay. So today we have announced O3. We have every reason to believe this trajectory will continue. He's saying basically this kind of speed up, and I don't think it's they're hyped. I get it. I don't think this will continue at this kind of speed. It might. I might be wrong. That will be really dangerous, but again, so he's saying, yeah, the trajectory will continue. Let's see how things go. Again, more and more information around the model, benchmarks around performance, even cost, a different level. So let's put it that way. There's not lots of details, but O3 is at a totally different level, even compared to O1. I don't know what the competition are doing, but I think by the end of these 12 days, it's pretty clear no one of the bigger players when it comes to OpenAI is even close. I might be wrong. I don't think any of them is even close enough to where OpenAI is when it comes to AI models. And finally, if you go to the models, you'll not find anything about O3 in the documentation. Not yet. It will come, I guess, I assume. There is early access for the model. So if you go back to the 12 days of OpenAI, scroll down to O3 preview and a call for safety researchers, you will have an early access link. But this is for safety testing, and this is not for the individual. I can't do safety testing. I'll have to be an organization with verified papers on the topic of testing. We'll get the access and we can test. Even those people, not all of them might get that access. So super interesting couple of weeks. I thought I just put it all together for you. They kept everyone on the edge of their seats, including someone like me, a creator when it comes, and an enthusiast when it comes to AI models. I really enjoy them. I like them. I like to play with them, build with them. So it was a big and long kind of stretched Christmas gift. And with this, I hope you have enjoyed the video, got some news, some updates, and some value. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Write me a comment. What do you want me to talk about if you're already part of the community? If you're not, hey, again, subscribe to the channel. Be part of the community. Learn along the way in my journey and on your journey. I might help you do that, encourage you to do that without even having technical knowledge, as I don't have that technical knowledge myself, but I'm building with AI, doing things there. And with this, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. And thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. Give me the mic.